up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs, and we got an absolutely loaded injury update from Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs, who are beginning to practice for this weekend's game versus the Houston Texans. Now, this first update and report is going to come from Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, who says Chiefs coach Andy Reid indicated that quarterback Patrick Mahomes should do some work today, and they'll see how it goes. His first big test with the game on Saturday. Carson Wentz is, of course, his backup, and we knew that Mahomes was dealing with a high ankle sprain. We know the competitor that Patrick Mahomes is. He's definitely going to go out there and still practice, and he's going to try to play in this game. That's just who he is. Now, we'll see if they end up actually putting him out there on Sunday. My guess would be no. My guess would be Andy Reid is going to hold him back and let Carson Wentz fill in just for this week, and then maybe we'll see where he is next week. But we got a report yesterday from Ian Rappaport as well saying that it was only a mild high ankle sprain, so it's not as bad as it has been in years past when Mahomes typically has had a high ankle sprain. It should be a little bit better this time, a little bit quicker of a recovery time. But yeah, he'll get some work in today. And then in addition, Reid confirmed that Hollywood Brown has a chance to play this weekend. So Hollywood Brown, we know that the team opened up his practice window last week. He's designated to return from IR. They released CEH yesterday, most likely to make room for Hollywood Brown on the active roster. So that's really good to hear. I would kind of be surprised if he played in this game because it sounds like they're aiming for that Christmas Day game, but with Carson Wentz in there at quarterback now, maybe the thinking changes a little bit. You want to get Hollywood Brown out there to give your backup quarterback as much help as possible, as much scheme help, and Hollywood Brown definitely allows you to scheme up more so that there's not as much pressure on Carson Wentz. You can kind of let him do some work underneath or on some wide receiver screens. That would be fantastic. And you also just want to get him out there as soon as possible to get in a rhythm in this offense, get back into playing shape. So sounds like Hollywood Brown is trending towards playing this week. So that's another big update. I think as far as those two go, that's the best possible scenario, best case scenario. Patrick Mahomes sounds like he's going to tough it out. I wouldn't even be shocked if he was listed as a full participant at practice. Maybe they just put him as limited because I'm sure he's still getting worked on, but you'd rather see him limited than out completely, and it sounds like he is going to be out there throwing some footballs, and that's always a positive sign. And then, of course, Hollywood Brown, they're aiming for that Christmas Day game, but if you could get him back for the Houston Texans, I mean, hey, great, cool, that's awesome. So best case scenario, I think, for those two. And then I'm pulling this report from Charles Goldman at GoldMCTNFL on Twitter. And he says, Chiefs head coach Andy Reid says Chamarri Conner and DJ Humphries won't practice. And these two are not as big of a surprise. Now, with Chamarri Conner, we'll start with him first because that's the most recent injury. Obviously, you guys saw him come out of that Cleveland Browns game. He took a nasty hit to the head, kind of bent his neck awkwardly. He had to be helped off the field. Looked very much like a concussion, and that's what they said that he has. He is in concussion protocol right now. I imagine he does not play in this game, but concussion is something that should be more of a short-term injury. They should get Chamarri Conner back before the playoffs, and again, I think that's best case scenario. And Chamarri Conner had not been playing his best football as of lately, but you still don't want to see more guys go down in the secondary. This cornerback depth already is not good. Steven Nelson has hardly been here a week. He's not ready yet. We'll see if he gets elevated for this game. They might have to because you're just getting extremely thin there. But we've seen Najee Johnson. We've seen Joshua Williams. We've seen Chris Roland Wallace. It's just kind of a mixed bag what you're going to get from those guys. And so that's a concern. And you don't want to see Chamarri Conner go down. So it sucks that he got hurt, but it does sound like, he'll be back sooner than later, but going to be in concussion protocol for a little bit. It looked nasty, but I think that injury probably looked worse on the field than it actually was. I'd imagine he'd be out a couple weeks, but definitely back before the postseason. And then lastly, with the update on DJ Humphries not practicing, little bit of a bummer. Was kind of hoping that he'd be back to practicing by now. It sounded like the hamstring wasn't that bad because he was still walking on the field, in good spirits, hanging around the team at practice. So I think it's on the lower end of the spectrum as far as hamstring strains go. But I guess, nonetheless, you have to be careful with a hamstring, especially with such a big guy like DJ Humphries, always constantly putting a lot of weight on that leg. Michael Darcy and I of KC Sports Report talked about how you don't want to rush guys back from injury because that's kind of what they did with DJ Humphries. And to begin with, he was seeing his first action since tearing his ACL just a little over a year ago, and I don't think he was quite ready for that. And the Chiefs kind of threw him into action, and then you see he got hurt, that hamstring, and that very likely could have been caused by the fact that he was compensating for that knee injury that he suffered the year before. I mean, that is a major injury to your leg, and he's an offensive lineman. He puts a lot of weight on his legs consistently. So sometimes that's just kind of what happens when you rush guys back from injury. So maybe the Chiefs are being a little bit more careful this time, easing DJ Humphries long until he's 100% ready to go, because you'd rather have him for the postseason run than throw him out there for the Houston Texans game and then it gets worse or he re-aggravates the hamstring. Hamstring injuries can very easily be re-aggravated because if you try to go out there and run with that bad hamstring, you're just going to prolong the recovery time. We don't want that for DJ Humphries. We've seen how this offensive line has performed recently. I mean, look at all the hits that Mahomes took against the Cleveland Browns. You have to give him the best protection possible, and you can't do that if DJ Humphries is not healthy. DJ Humphries gives you yet another option there. So, would like to have him back at practice sooner than later, and there's still plenty of time this week. He could certainly become a limited or full participant later this week. But as of today, Tuesday, December 17th, DJ Humphries will not practice for the Kansas City Chiefs. But overall, guys, I would say this is an extremely positive injury update. It sounds like everyone is going to be okay. No one's losing a limb or anything like that. And I know the biggest concern, obviously, is with Patrick Mahomes, but his high ankle sprain this time sounds like it's on the lower end of the spectrum, and that's certainly a good thing. He actually spoke on it as well. This is a real quick ad from Nate Taylor of The Athletic, and Patrick Mahomes says, "I think it's good. You have to push it. That's the reason you play this game, to push to play. I'm not going to put our team in bad position. It's about seeing where I'm at. I'm a competitor. I want to go out there and play." And then Sam McDowell of the Kansas City Star followed up on Mahomes and said that his injury has responded better quicker than the high ankle sprain he had in the playoffs versus Jacksonville 2 years ago. So yet again, another positive sign. I think this is the best case scenario, guys, for everyone involved in this injury update. So that is the latest going on in Chiefs Kingdom. Those are the latest injury updates. So I want to hear from you guys down below what your thoughts are on all these injury updates. Sounds like we're getting close to having just about everyone back, and that can only be viewed as positive, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. With all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. And make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. And I'll see you all in the next one. As always, go Chiefs!